No, I had no such idea, but, knowing that all was ready for flight, I thought you might have made your escape. The deep glow of indignation suffused the cheeks of Dantes. Without you? Did you really think me capable of that? At least, said the Abbé, I now see how wrong such an opinion would have been. Alas, alas! I am fearfully exhausted and debilitated by this attack. Be of good cheer, replied Dantes, your strength will return. And as he spoke he seated himself near the bed beside Faria, and took his hands. The Abbé shook his head. The last attack I had, said he, lasted but half an hour, and after it I was hungry, and got up without help. Now I can move neither my right arm nor leg, and my head seems uncomfortable, which shows that there has been a suffusion of blood on the brain. The third attack will either carry me off, or leave me paralyzed for life. No, no, cried Dantes, you are mistaken, you will not die. And your third attack, if, indeed, you should have another, will find you at liberty. We shall save you another time, as we have done this, only with a better chance of success, because we shall be able to command every requisite assistance. My good Edmund, answered the Abbé, be not deceived. The attack which has just passed away, condemns me forever to the walls of a prison. None can fly from a dungeon who cannot walk. Well, we will wait, a week, a month, 2 months, if need be, and meanwhile your strength will return. Everything is in readiness for our flight, and we can select any time we choose. As soon as you feel able to swim we will go. I shall never swim again, replied Faria. This arm is paralyzed, not for a time, but forever. Lift it, and judge if I am mistaken. The young man raised the arm, which fell back by its own weight, perfectly inanimate and helpless. A sigh escaped him. You are convinced now, Edmund, are you not? Asked the Abbé. Depend upon it, I know what I say. Since the first attack I experienced of this malady, I have continually reflected on it. Indeed, I expected it, for it is a family inheritance, Both my father and grandfather died of it in a third attack. The physician who prepared for me the remedy I have twice successfully taken, was no other than the celebrated Cacanus, and he predicted a similar end for me. The physician may be mistaken, exclaimed Dantes. And as for your poor arm, what difference will that make? I can take you on my shoulders, and swim for both of us. My son, said the Abbé, you, who are a sailor and a swimmer, must know as well as I do that a man so loaded would sink before he had done 50 strokes. Cease, then, to allow yourself to be duped by vain hopes, that even your own excellent heart refuses to believe in. Here I shall remain till the hour of my deliverance arrives, and that, in all human probability, will be the hour of my death. As for you, who are young and active, delay not on my account, but fly, go, I give you back your promise. It is well, said Dantes. Then I shall also remain. Then, rising and extending his hand with an air of solemnity over the old man's head, he slowly added, By the blood of Christ I swear never to leave you while you live. Faria gazed fondly on his noble-minded, single-hearted, high-principled young friend, and read in his countenance ample confirmation of the sincerity of his devotion and the loyalty of his purpose. Thanks, murmured the invalid, extending one hand. I accept. You may one of these days reap the reward of your disinterested devotion. But as I cannot, and you will not, quit this place, it becomes necessary to fill up the excavation beneath the soldier's gallery. He might, by chance, hear the hollow sound of his footsteps, and call the attention of his officer to the circumstance. That would bring about a discovery which would inevitably lead to our being separated. Go, then, and set about this work, in which, unhappily, I can offer you no assistance. Keep at it all night, if necessary, and do not return here tomorrow till after the jailer has visited me. I shall have something of the greatest importance to communicate to you. Dantes took the hand of the Abbé in his, and affectionately pressed it. Faria smiled encouragingly on him, and the young man retired to his task, in the spirit of obedience and respect which he had sworn to show towards his aged friend. Chapter 18. The Treasure. When Dantes returned next morning to the chamber of his companion in captivity, he found Faria seated and looking composed. In the ray of light which entered by the narrow window of his cell, he held open in his left hand, of which alone, it will be recollected, he retained the use, a sheet of paper, which, from being constantly rolled into a small compass, had the form of a cylinder, and was not easily kept open. He did not speak, but showed the paper to Dantes. "What is that?" he inquired. "Look at it," said the abbé with a smile. "I have looked at it with all possible attention," said Dantes, "and I only see a half-burnt paper, on which are traces of Gothic characters inscribed with a peculiar kind of ink." "This paper, my friend," said Faria, "I may now avow to you, since I have the proof of your fidelity, this paper is my treasure, of which, from this day forth, one half belongs to you." The sweat started forth on Dante's brow. Until this day, and for how long a time? He had refrained from talking of the treasure, which had brought upon the abbé the accusation of madness. With his instinctive delicacy, Edmund had preferred avoiding any touch on this painful chord, and Faria had been equally silent. He had taken the silence of the old man for a return to reason, and now these few words uttered by Faria, after so painful a crisis, seemed to indicate a serious relapse into mental alienation. "Your treasure?" stammered Dantes. Faria smiled. "Yes," said he. "You have, indeed, a noble nature, Edmund, and I see by your paleness and agitation what is passing in your heart at this moment." "No, be assured, I am not mad. This treasure exists, Dantes, and if I have not been allowed to possess it, you will. Yes, you. No one would listen or believe me, because everyone thought me mad, but you, who must know that I am not, listen to me, and believe me so afterwards if you will." "Alas," murmured Edmund to himself, "this is a terrible relapse. There was only this blow wanting." Then he said aloud, "My dear friend, your attack has, perhaps, fatigued you. Had you not better repose a while?" Tomorrow, if you will, I will hear your narrative, but today I wish to nurse you carefully. Besides, he said, a treasure is not a thing we need hurry about. On the contrary, it is a matter of the utmost importance, Edmund, replied the old man. Who knows if tomorrow, or the next day after, the third attack may not come on? And then must not all be over? Yes, indeed, I have often thought with a bitter joy that these riches, which would make the wealth of a dozen families, will be forever lost to those men who persecute me.